probably be doing some more drone stuff. I think that'll be cool. I've been building a little Delta spy drone. Let's put some wheels on this thing. Now I don't know what kind of wheels I want to put on. I'm thinking about that one. But then I'm thinking about putting on some 3x3s, but making them super small. Hey, Xander. Maybe something like that. I guess it's the tire radius. Something like that. Yes. Yeah, a little drone I was working on. I think I want to make the base station, because the drone is pretty much done. Need to put in some autopilot stuff. And then, I don't know, I have a thing with retractable landing gear. How small of a landing gear can you actually make? Or like retracting? It'd be cool to see. Some tiny landing gear. Well, I mean, so multiple pivots. If I put the pivot out one more block. we could try it. We'll throw the throttle lever on. Throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. Let's go. And this one needs to get set at lower range. I like it. Fun times, okay. So how do I do the games? I don't really like that. I kinda don't like it there either. Where do I want it? Ah, we're still on starting. Nope, I'm just the best streamer in the world. And I rely on people like you to tell me when I'm the best streamer in the world. Thank you. Like, no, I'm just not paying attention. Right? Yeah, exactly. It's all the same. It doesn't matter if I'm having anything on the screen, right? Oh, hey, Jack. Excuse me, Jack. Yeah, how's it going? Welcome in. I'm doing alright. How about yourself? Oh, doing okay? Perfect. Nice. I'm doing absurdities, like putting retractable landing gear inside of a drone. 'Cause that's fun. Are ya winning? Yeah. I don't know if it's winning or whining. Kidding. Definitely doing alright. Yeah. So that's where it is. And this is where I want it to be. Something like that. But then it has to rotate. Around that corner. And is that gonna be... It's not there. I don't know how to do that one. So, out by one, outboard by one. Let's try outboard by one. Dying is bad. Don't do it. Yeah, it kind of has some tendencies of leaving your creations out in the middle of the world. Gets a little bit expensive. I hope you're not out there dying in the world. Oops. There we go. Okay, so I have some doors here. So let's try that. So that works. We can hook all three to that one. And this one is going to be A plus, yes. We'll see what that looks like. We'll just see what it looks like. Not good at all. About how I expected it to be. So let's do a thing. We'll do a thing. A bit of a thing. Let's see. So this might be a little bit better. Hoping, anyway. So this one goes back to these guys. That's not good. That's bad. Let's see. Did it work so nicely before? Oh yeah, I mean, yes. Why? Hello. This is a struggle. Haha, nice. Yeah, it's fine. I complain about ads, and I run ads, so it's like I know, wow, I know. It's like you have to have them, but you don't ever want them. Let's open the doors. Insert wheel. Roll. Close door. But it doesn't close. I just wish there was a better way for you to opt into ads. Where it's not like wholly encompassing, you know? You're like, as a user, I'm fine with banner ads, but I don't like full screen ads. So, you know, so I'll take my ads as banners, thank you very much. Or I want 3 minutes every hour, just give it to me in a chunk. And you can customize it per user. Because my preferences aren't like somebody else's preferences, obviously. So to make everybody's preferences the same, I think is a little bit, you know, biased or unfair. Let's see if taking those walls out. Open up. Close. Flippy deal? There is, I thought. I thought there was. Where it says, so what I need is, I need moderators that are like, well, not moderators. I need like assistants basically to get my ad starts in 5 minutes. Like, I needed somebody to go through and help me make links and things like that. So it's like, yeah. Make it longer? Pretty sure that's the only way I can. Yeah, yes, yes. This music is a little bit not what I liked. I think we need a different genre. A little bit of soul. When am I gonna do? So let me show you. Yeah, that's similar, but so okay, let's do this. Let's do this. This is called scat kind of thing. Like scat. So we can. I mean, I figure if I pay for music. I know, I'm looking. It's just, this isn't the greatest for that kind of music. The grand stuff. The bathtub of death. Yeah. So that one had, what, 6 helicopters, 6 landing craft, and then 6 submarines or something like that? Plus all the guns on top. Still trying to fit a 3x3 into a 1x1 is not working out so well. Just don't know if it's actually gonna go in there. It doesn't like it. How can I get it to fit in there? I mean, I guess if I want to steer it on the ground, it would be nice to have the pivot there. So, dang. Wonder where that's gonna land. It's gonna land right. Whoa. That's fun. Folded. Folded in half. What happened there? I mean, it's like turn. So that's nice. Can do with that. What? Let's see what happens. Piano Sonata. What is going on here? There we go. There we go. A little bit different. Like that. Like that, yeah. Okay. I can deal with that. Sweet. So now I don't have a way. I do not have a way to cover this little gap. There's a 2-block gap right there. Let's see, it leaves a 2-gap block. And I could put just an XML piece in there. Oh, that's cool. But not what I wanted. Who's gonna know? No one's gonna know. Okay. Sweet. Okay. Now I gotta put a wheel in here now. I mean, I can kind of see it. That would have to come down by a block if I wanted to put it this way. If I put it this way, I would have to go down by a block or come up into this section. It would get fatter. This done yet? No, there's like 2 minutes left of that. Jeez. Dang it. The one pipe. That one right there is gonna hit. It's gonna hit. This is a tricky one. Oh, it's so ugly. Why do I make it so small? Like, why am I trying to do this? Just don't think that's gonna work. That's better. Whale? It just looks like it gets cut off. Much. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much. Hello. Although I'm thinking about branching out into some other games that I play. Oh, well, if you have any questions, I've got way too many hours. I could probably help you out. Alright, so do I want it to be the same? I do. And then it'll go -1. Yeah, perfect. What parts of the game do you like? Are you somebody that would just get stuff off the workshop and like play with your buddies? That radiator is in the way. Everything is in the way. This tiny, tiny little thing. So... Yeah, too many. Set up the engine so it runs proper. So, I have a lot of hours in this game, and I make everything myself except for two things. There are two things in this world that I just refuse. I mean, I've made them myself, don't get me wrong, but the ones I've found on the workshop are really cool. So, I use the ZE modular engine controller, and I can't say enough about this controller. It runs every single engine I've ever put against it. Like, if this doesn't run your engine, you have a pipe wrong, or you're missing something on your engine that needs to run. So if you want an engine that just runs, you don't have to care about it, you could go along doing the rest of the logic of the build. Just use that one on your engines. It just makes life simple. The only other one that I use is this one by Olaroll, and it's a velocity pivot to robotic pivot. And that's pretty much the two that I use. And this one's just a fancy PID, but it gives you all of the minimum and maximum gear ratios. To turn a velocity pivot into a robotic pivot works really good for turrets. And it's just because it works. It's like drop, and it like dropped in and works. Just every single build. Boom, modular engine done. So it's just too hard for me not to do that when it's just like that. It's just really simple to do. So huh. So that's obviously not gonna work because it's not gonna. That does not. So I've built so many modular engines that I kinda know how big a one I want before I put it in. And then the other thing, well here, I'll do a modular engine tutorial for you, how's that? We're gonna do New vehicle. Alright. Bloop. Do you want a big one or a little one? So we'll make kind of a smaller one. So if you type in modular, it's going to bring up basically every piece for the modular engine that you can put on it. Works really well for that. And make sure you download the ZE Modular Engine Controller, because that's what's going to make everything work. If it's turbocharged, not turbocharged, like a 5x5, a 1x1, 1 cylinder, 5x5, 2 million cylinder, it's just gonna make the thing work. So, I highly recommend just to make it work, the ZE Modular Engine Controller. I'll show you how to make it work without it. So, you know, we could go through and do a simple setup for you. If you don't want to use microcontrollers from the workshop, that's fine. But that one just works so well. It keeps the AFR perfect. Like, it just keeps the temperature in line. It just works so well. So, but let's build a modular engine. So we'll build a 1x1 modular engine. And you start with a crankshaft. These crankshafts are going to be kind of the core of the engine, and this is what's going to convert the fuel to RPS, basically. So let's start by putting down some of these. They have different sides, if you notice. There's the square sides and then the round sides. So those are ports. They're like connectors, and they connect certain things in certain ways. And if you drag them, it drags only one direction along that circular path. We can do 4 for now. So this will have 4 crankshafts. And on the crankshafts, there's going to be these patterns here. And we're going to match the patterns with the cylinders. So if you look and you rotate these cylinders, you'll have the 4 holes like this, and then the no holes with the square. So that's going to be the crankshaft connection for this cylinder head. And so we're going to put the cylinders on just like this, so that we're matching up these lines. So this is basically half of the engine built. You got the block and the cylinders. The cylinders have these 4 holes on them with their connector. Each one of the holes corresponds to something that the engine needs to run. There's going to be fuel, air, exhaust, and cooling. And the easy part, sure. So, with those 4 things, those are the 4 key components that'll make an engine run and not overheat. Now we get into the hard part. So, a side note is that these cylinders, they have to be connected together using these 4 ports. So, right now, as my engine stands, this top part and the side parts are not connected together. So I have 3 separate lines, basically. They are connected together through each other, because the 4 ports are connected, but they're not connected to each other through that. So we'll have to use a manifold, like a manifold corner, and you can see that the manifold corners have the pieces to attach. And so if we put those on the engine, now that makes a pipe connection basically between those 4 ports on the tops and the sides. And so now it's going to flow all the way around. And so now the fuel, the air, the cooling, and the exhaust are all connected together. That's pretty easy, right? So, like I said, for the 4 things that make the engine run, we're going to need fuel, air, exhaust, and then some kind of cooling. The fuel is done by a fuel manifold, right there. And the fuel manifold has 4 ports on the bottom of it, so that's where we have to attach to the cylinder heads. And then it has a pipe connection that comes off of it, and that's where we're going to connect our tank to. The modular engines only need 1 of each, unless you're getting so big of an engine that you're like overloading 1 port, and then, but that's like giant engine, and then you'll need 2, but that's like giant things you don't have to worry about. So that's going to be the fuel. And then we'll do air. And so that just gets put on the engine. And then we'll do some kind of exhaust. That gets put on the engine. And then we're going to do some kind of radiator. So those are the 4 things that you need. Now, one of the things that I like to do is to figure out an easy way to start the thing. Type in modular again, get into this menu. We're going to take the modular engine belt drive. And this belt drive has a little bit different connections on the sides, but it has the crankshaft connection in the middle. And so that's going to go on the crankshaft on the front, and that's going to give us kind of like an accessory takeoff. And then we'll take a starter, and we'll put the starter on there. And so that's going to be the easy way to start our engine. One of the other accessories that's kind of nice to use is the alternator. But the alternator doesn't really produce that much power, so I'm kind of skeptical on using it. Sometimes I'll put 2 on a build instead of putting a generator on, but we can talk about electricity later. For now, we really just need the starter on the front of it. Okay. Now, let's start hooking up all of these connections. So for the air, we can do something just simple. We can just put a port on the end of it. Now, just to let you know, all of these things are exactly the same thing. These are all just ports that the game uses to move fluid in and out of the system. It spawns with fresh water, and the engine cylinders actually spawn with fresh water as well. So the engine itself has its own cooling loop that spawns with water. You can add a tank and put fresh water in it, but I don't really recommend it. We can get into hooking this cooling system up in a minute. So basically, Any of these ports can be used to move fluid in and out of a system. And so I'm just choosing to put this one on. And so that's going to be the air intake. So that's where we're going to get air into the system. And this is going to be the exhaust. So that's how stuff that the exhaust will come out of the system. That's a diesel tank, so we'll select it and make sure that it selects a diesel, and then hook that up to the fuel manifold, and that's going to be our fuel intake. So right now we have 3 out of the 4 things hooked up. We have the air connected, we have the exhaust connected, and we have the fuel connected. The cooling is usually the tricky part, is how to hook the cooling up that's not gonna really like ruin everything or be all kinds of messy. One of the easiest ways that I found is just by using a couple of small pumps. You put one small pump facing towards and one small pump facing away. Go back into the modular engine and we'll grab what's called a cooling manifold. The modular engine coolant manifold. This has the 4 ports that we will connect to the cylinder head, and it has the pipe connections that we're going to use to connect the radiator. On this, there is a coolant B and a coolant A, and it doesn't really matter which way there is an in and an out. It just matters that one pump is facing one way and one pump is facing the other way. Now we could pipe the pump from over here all the way into the other side of this coolant manifold, but for demonstration purposes I want to show you that you can put it just another one on the other side of the engine. And because there's 4 ports on these cylinders, it sends the cooling through the cylinder, back up and around, and back down through this side. So these cylinders actually connect the loop. So you can use the cylinders to pipe in and out from the coolant manifolds on different sides of the engine. Helps to make things a little bit more compact. So that's going to be the cooling hooked up. So now we have the 4 things to run the engine. We need to be able to get the power out. And so off of the end of the crankshaft, we need to use a modular engine clutch. And the reason being is the modular engine clutch has a crankshaft adapter and a pipe adapter. And so the crankshaft side goes to the crankshaft, and then you'll get this pipe adapter output on it. And that's what's going to adapt your engine to your gears, or to your wheels, or way of propulsion. I'll put some more on just to make it look kind of cool. So for now, I'm just going to put a generator on the back. We can see some kind of power. So do you want me to show you how to use the ZE modular engine controller? Or would you like me to show you how to do it yourself? Just kind of a down and dirty, simple way to get things running. Yeah, so the ZE modular engine controller is pretty much, you throw it down, you hook it up, and that's it. So to use the ZE modular engine controller, the only 2 things that you really need is some kind of toggle input So that could be a toggle button. It could be a key. Like it could be one, anything. We'll use a key because it's like a car thing. Then the other thing that you're gonna need is some kind of throttle. So some kind of like up and down. Vroom vroom. And then that's pretty much it for this microcontroller. You just need the microcontroller, some kind of toggle key or thing, and then an up and down, so some kind of way to control the engine. Up in the top here is the logic tab. I'm not sure how versed you are. What about gears? What about gears? Gears are going to be tough. Gears are when you have wheels. Gears are completely different. Running the engine and driving the car are completely different things. So first, we'll get an engine running, and then we can drive the car, and we can talk about gears and speeds and wheels, like wheel slip, like why your wheels are sliding all over the place. Because once I start going down gears, it's going to be RPS and torque and the math and I don't know. Hold on to that. Hold on to that. We'll get to that. So, are you versed in the logic tab? Like, do you know what these things do on the left? Okay, perfect. Makes it easier. So on the microcontroller, there's going to be red and green nodes. We'll start with those. Some kind of on and off signal. So this on and off signal will keep from the key. And then there's going to be some kind of throttle value or desired RPS. We'll put that to the throttle. Then from the crankshaft, we'll take the RPS and go into the microcontroller. We don't have to worry about the dynamic stoke or AFR. That's an optional node that can be left unconnected, if you notice the thing it says. So then the other one here, this one's going to be for a starter that we put on the front. Then we have a fuel manifold, and that's going to get hooked up to the fuel manifold. Then we got the air manifold, and that's going to get hooked up to the air manifold. Now this is one thing that people forget all the time, but there's composite. So there's a purple node that needs to get hooked up to the microcontroller, and that's going to be the cylinder composite data. So you're going to make sure that that one's hooked up as well. And that's pretty much it for the microcontroller. So the microcontroller is going to run right now pretty much just fine. What's not going to run fine is our cooling. We have some unconnected nodes over here. So there's the pumps and the fan for the radiator. So we're going to go from the key button, or from our key, to these pumps. And if you hold the control button down, it will hold the line for you in your mouse, so you won't let go like that. So if you hold it down, and you can do multiple clicks, and then let go, and it'll let go of it for you. Now, one of the other things that we need to do for this test is this clutch pressure needs to get turned on, otherwise we're not going to get anything out. And this is usually going to get hooked up to the seat. So your WS on your seat for your go, no go, probably go to there. But for this test, we're just going to hook it up to the RPS so it's always on. It's like sending it a constant number of 1. Alright. So that's pretty much it. That's it, really. We'll spawn it in and see if I made any mistakes. By looking at the microcontroller, it tells you all the information you need to know. And if we do the key button, we can talk about electricity in a minute. But if you notice, it's at 6 RPS, and we're using fuel. And then if we go up, yeah, right now I have infinite electric on. And we're getting an output on the generator. I also have the particles turned off. There we go. So yeah, that's a modular engine. So, if we wanted to get more power out of it, we can try to do what's called turbocharging or supercharging the engine. And that has to do with adding pressure to the air intake. That could be done a couple of ways. You could use like a large pump. So one of these babies. Put the filter back on. So you do something like this, and that's going to add pressure into the air intake, and it's going to pressurize your system so that it's like turbocharging. Just make sure that it's turned on with your key. Yes, yeah, that's gonna end up, so you're gonna use more fuel. And the fuel is the heat. So, yeah, so by using more air, it's gonna put in more fuel, which is gonna make more heat. So that is definitely a concern when you turbocharge. But you do get a lot more power. And with that power, then you can basically run the engine lower and get the same speed. So if you had to like rev the engine really high and go fast, then you turbo it, then you don't have to run the engine as hard, so it doesn't need as much cooling. Because the lower RPS is definitely better for cooling. So there is a different way that we can do a turbocharge. Let's put the starter on the side here. And there's a modular engine fluid pump. And the messed up part is that it's got a pipe on the back of it. So you have to take out one of your cylinders in order to make it work. But I think it's fine because if you're turboing your craft anyways, then you're getting that power right back. So then we can put the fuel manifold back on, fuel out. Then we'll make it look cool with the scoop. And so this one has a clutch pressure for the fluid pump. So you're gonna have to send that a number. I like to just send it the RPS just to make sure that it's always on. So if the engine's on, it's on. And we'll hook the starter back up. Uh-oh. Oh, did I not hook? I didn't hook up the air. I missed the node. So this is a little pump, and if we look, we can see that the fluid in is at 1 atmosphere, and the fluid out is at 7.7 atmosphere. The 7.7 atmosphere is basically how much turbo you're putting into your engine. And in the game, 60 atmosphere is the max. The fuel one here will slowly be depreciating or decreasing like this, so you can see the pressure going down. And it's 7.7 atmosphere. So if you get this up to 60 atmosphere, like using that large pump that I had, would put it up to 60 atmosphere, you'll get a lot more turbo. But putting this modular engine fluid pump on there, you get a pretty mild turbo. And now we're up to 16 atmosphere. 15.5. So it's pretty comparable. These small pumps go, like this one here is around 33 atmospheres. So that's pretty powerful. So it's not only the flow rate that you look at, it's the atmospheres that you look at. When we're using like no fuel, this tiny little engine. So that's kind of a little turbocharged engine. It's pretty powerful. Oh no. Yeah, are you using the stock engines? They suck a lot of fuel on the stock engines. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, modular engines are where it's at. If you're trying to go for a long ways, so you have no range, and if you want to go forward, then when to put the gear on, it sucks all the fuel. So let's put a seat on here. Actually, so let's take an alternator and we'll put it on this side. And we'll make sure that this clutch pressure node is hooked up. so that we can actually make some electricity. We'll take a battery, plap it down there. So let's talk about gears, alright? I kind of feel like making a little speedboat here. Let's... So we'll put this to use. How's that? Yeah, just to go one. You just need. I just needed to boat. I don't need a speedboat. I just needed to boat. Period. I got you, fam. I make a boat. I am from the US. Alright, so this is looking like a boat. It's about a boat. Rats, yeah. You know, everybody gotta come from somewhere. Danish, gotcha. We'll put us up front. Something like that. Alright, so what kind of propellers do you use? I recommend using the small pitchable propellers. So if we take a straight pipe that's enclosed, here we go, yep, put that on the back. And we take a pitchable propeller and we put it on there. The pitchable propeller has a green node on it that's a -1 to 1. And so you don't even need the gearbox for reverse. This just will push you forward and push you backwards. Super easy to use. It's the Alright, so we could use a small propeller. Bloop. Let's see. Will that work? That works. Nice. Okay, so in order to make this thing work, we need to put on fins. So we'll turn off symmetry mode. And we'll put them in so that the minus is facing to the left and the plus is facing to the right. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty fun. I made a submarine, I called it the Lotus sub, and basically it would go in any direction equally. So there really wasn't a forward or backwards. It was just a, yeah, just all the time, every direction, any direction you wanted to go. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we need actually a couple of gearboxes. So we're put 2 gearboxes on. 1 and 2. And we'll set one, the on ratio to -1:1. And then we'll set the other one, the off ratio, to like 2:1. And point the one that's the off ratio 2:1 towards the engine. And that's going to increase the RPS coming out of the propeller so that we can decrease the RPS that we need on the engine. So because I have it set 2:1 facing towards the engine, if the engine is running at 1 RPS, we should expect 2 RPS on the propeller. So we should have double the spin coming out of the propeller that we do going into the engine. So if we set the engine to 10 RPS, we should be seeing this spin at 20 RPS for us. I'll do this one. Push the right button, Mike. Yep, exactly. Yeah, basically. We'll take the long way around with this one. Why not? All right. Hook up the starter, hook up the fuel manifold, hook up the air manifold, hook up the RPS, and hook up the composite. the on-off, the throttle, and the stoichiometric. So we'll do a key. Why not do a key? So hook that to the microcontroller, and we'll turn on the pumps and make sure that the fan is turned on as well. We'll see if we float. Okay, we float. I'm gonna add a little bit of weight down here. Now, the key turns us on, and I think I'm just going to use the up and down arrows for the throttle, and I'll change the seat to sticky, engine throttle, and then WS is steering, or no, WS drive, and then this is steering. The A and D is steering. So A and D will go to the fins, and the engine clutch, we're gonna go to the WS. And then the spacebar will go to this last gearbox, and we'll set the spacebar, the trigger, to push, and we'll turn that to reverse. So now that should be pretty good. Pretty good to go. We probably need more weight back there, yeah. And then W. We're going. And then up. Whee! And hold the space bar. And we go backwards. Whee! It's rolly, and I can show you how to get rid of that. And then if we're in any kind of wind, it's going to be kind of bad. I hate the windows. Whee! Alright, so now this is super simple. Drives actually super well. This is actually one of my best starter boats as far as like not flipping over and rolling all the way all over the place. It's kind of funny. Kind of funny. But, alright. So, if we wanted it to automatically go in reverse when we held down like W and S, we just need a little bit of logic to go in there. So I like to take a blank microcontroller and just throw it down so I can just start working on it. And then what we'll do inside of the microcontroller, we can label it. We can label it what? Master controller. And we'll say number input WS. Oops. And then number output is going to be the clutch. And then an on-off output is for the reverse. Then we'll take a less than. And then we'll take an ABS. The ABS block is an absolute value. So basically it won't put anything negative out, and it'll just turn everything to a positive number. Hook the WS up to the A of the less than and the ABS block. The ABS block can get hooked up to the clutch, and the less than block can get hooked up to the reverse gear. So what this logic does is when you push 1 on, like if you push W and it goes up to 1, then the reverse gear is not on because it's checking if it's less than 0. And the ABS block is fine because it sends out a 1, so you're putting out a 1 on the clutch, so you'll go forward. If you put on a -1, like so if you're going backwards, if you hold the S key, less than 0 is going to trigger the reverse gear. And the -1 is going to get turned into a +1 on the ABS and go to the clutch to push the clutch on. I'm going to edit this just a little bit more. We're going to call it reverser. And we can make it a little bit thinner. Oops. Yeah. So now let's hook this up. So this goes to the WS. This goes to the clutch. And now instead of the space bar, the reverse gear goes to the reverse. So let's press W. And we're going forward. And then we'll press S. backwards. And then we press W. And now we're going forwards. So the negative throttle will just be a 0 on the engine, but I'm not putting the engine to negative. The engine is hooked up to the up and down. And the up and down on the seat is the engine throttle, and it's set to sticky. The WS is the drive, and that's set to reset. And that's what's connected to the reverser microcontroller that we made. And that has the less than block and the ABS in it. And those are what goes to the clutch and the reverse gear. Put it all to your throttle. So you can have a throttle lever. It's just instead of up and down, you would just have the throttle lever there. Totally acceptable. It's just I like to use WS for your clutch, so you can like go with W and then go backwards. Auto gears like a transmission. With a boat, it's kind of better just to set your top speed and then just run something like lower than that down to 0 for your gears instead of actually changing gears in the boat. So I don't really recommend changing gears on a boat unless it's like a reverse gear. Yeah, but trying to get the throttle lever back to 0 is very tricky. So it's in the same lines, that one. So if I moved it all up, the dead zone. So the dead zone is actually the clutch. The clutch doesn't start working. So the clutches are non-linear in this game. Except for the modular engine clutches. The modular engine clutches are actually 0 to 1, so if you're at 0.1 on a modular engine clutch, you'll actually get some output. But on the regular clutches, there's anything below 0.2 and you get nothing. And that has to do with the clutch output. Sure. Let's see. Here's one. Put the fires out. Use this hose here. It's got a fire cannon on the front as well. All the equipment inside. We have autopilot. Got beefy engines back here. Couple of beds. Hello, are you? And then this stuff up here is for an add-on that I have to generate a weather map. But a little bit of equipment down here, a couple of beds, some big old engines. This runs on fluid jets. Engine throttle. Just refamiliarizing myself with what's going on here. Alright. Thank you. That's a pretty nice boat, yeah. And then it should have radar, yeah. And then I'm gonna add sonar to it too. Oh, nice. And then it's got the mouse look searchlight. So this guy, let's see. Going this speed, here, let's go fast. So So we're at 300 kilometers? Oh, hold on. Going really fast. Well, we're not really a set speed, huh? Let's trim it back a little bit so we can get a... Around 100 kilometers at 40 meters a second. I've been working on trying to get it to turn at this speed without trying to dive into the water. And then I made an overlay to spin a triangle towards the waypoint. Just fun to what's that? Oh, just found, yeah. How do you make hydrofoils in Stormworks? That's a great question. So, woo, there goes the waypoint. So like this guy, hydrofoil action kind of thing, is what you're talking about? It's really, really simple. Some people use PIDs, which are like little magic boxes that make things happen automatically, but then you have to tune them, almost like talking to AI. You're like, please work, please work, please work, and he just doesn't work. All right, so question after question. Let's see. How do you get the water to shoot so far? You put a large pump directly onto the hose. So the large pump will get up to 60 pressure on the output, and that pressure is what's going to get you to go really far. So you see up here I have another large pump directly onto what I'm trying to shoot water from. So if you're trying to get fire hoses, I definitely recommend using a large pump. Yeah. And then let's see, it just goes down and into the water. Yep. Just straight from the water. No. This is a large electric pump. You can use an impeller. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying this is one of the easiest ways to do it. You just hook it up and no need for... Okay, so this pump and this pump, actually this pump. So there's two main differences. The first difference is that this uses RPS to drive and this uses electricity to drive. So this one has a orange node here that you actually have to hook up a pipe to an engine to power it. So there's an RPS node along with the input and output nodes. The second difference is that this one does not have a valve. So there's an on-off valve. Hey, thanks for the follow. So basically, the electric pumps have on-off valves, and the impeller pumps allow free flow back and forth. Sometimes that's cool, sometimes it's not cool. And so a lot of the times you'll have to put a valve on the impeller pump to prevent backflow. or to like turn it on and off, basically. Because there really is no off. It's kind of flow in one direction or enable backflow in the other direction. So those are the two major differences. One has a valve, one does not. One needs electricity, one needs RPS. And then there's two sizes. So the pump, you have these, this one is like the small electric pump, and this one is the large electric pump, and then this one's going to be the small impeller pump and the large impeller pump. The main difference being the small pump is good for low pressure with high flow. Something inside of a closed sealed loop, like a cooling loop, like radiators and things like that. Not really going from a tank to a tank kind of thing. Where the large pump is kind of a lower flow rate but higher pressure. So it's going to be able to pump higher in the air. In Stormworks, the altitude difference between the ports is what measures the pressure inside of your system. So if you're pumping into the top of a tank, it's going to be a lot easier than pumping into the bottom of a tank. The difference between the two impeller pumps is not actually that big. Like I said, the small pump here is like a low pressure pump, where this small impeller pump is almost exactly the same as the large impeller pump. They are pretty close to performance-wise the same. So I just use the small impeller pumps wherever I need an impeller pump. And that's the pump rundown. Now, to make a hydrofoil in Stormworks, you need little fins. Well, you need fins. You don't need little fins, you just need fins. Any kind of fins. Make sure that the positive faces upwards and put them under the boat. And then what you're going to want to do is take what's called an altitude meter or an altimeter and put that where you want your water line. So if I want my boat to be hydrofoiling at like the bottom of these windows, then I would put the altimeter here. And that's going to be my zero line. But because I want it to be more of a hydrofoil-y kind of thing, I have the altimeter here. And so this is going to be my zero line. And then you make sure that the fins are pointing where the positive is on the top side. Like down here, the positive is on the top side. And you hook them directly up to the altimeter. So with the fins, minus pointing up, if the altimeter is below zero on the water, it's going to push the fins up. And if it's above zero on the water, it's going to push the fins down. And so this altimeter is going to drive these fins to be equal to the zero line right along here. And it's a really simple, easy way without microcontrollers to a clutch that connects to them and to your boat's propeller shaft, allowing you to use the engine to help put out fires. So yes, I do have that. But trying to get the RPS node all the way forward and the water all the way forward, like, that's hard. So it's very, very easy to put a large pump in and not worry about the RPS. Down here, I'm using a lot of impeller pumps on the engine. So if you notice, there's yellow pipes. The yellow pipes are the RPS pipe that comes out of the back of the engine. So if you notice, it comes out of the back of the engine and wraps around and comes up to this pump and 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 this pump. So this pump here is my turbo pump. This one pushes air into my system. This pump here is my fuel pump. This is what's hooked up to the fuel manifold here to pump fuel into my engine. And then these ones over here are the coolant pumps. So down here I have this heat sink, which is just an additional cooling setup. And then up here I have a radiator for the engine. And those have the impeller pumps on them. So that's usually where I use the impeller pumps, is on the engine where the RPS is easy to get to. The other cool feature about these pumps is that they don't make a lot of noise. You can hear a little whir, but they don't make pump noises like the big pumps do. So you made a helicopter, huh? I've made a lot of helicopters. Oh, you can't get helicopters to work? Oh, so back in the day, there was no Phantom Yaw Force. So nowadays, the rotors will spin your craft. Let's go make a helicopter. How's that? We made a little boat. Let's go make a little helicopter. I've made like 5 of everything in the game. So I am completely happy to like go on a tangent for you guys and show you what you need to do. I like to help people, you know? Alright, so what kind of helicopter do you want to make? Nice. So I stream every Saturday and Sunday. Transport personnel? Personnel transport? Don't know why that door sticks. This is the most recent SAR helicopter I've been making. This is cool. I made a little ECG machine. It gives you the heartbeats and the like brainwave monitor and then your little. I like it. I think that's cool. He's flatlining. Coaxial helicopters don't spin, so they don't have to have that tail rotor to keep them from spinning left and right. This one has automatic landing gear. So when we come up, and then we can use the jets to go forward. And it uses the rotating jets to help keep the nose pointing up. Definitely too top heavy. So in this one, I have the custom tanks. So in the top there's water, and in the bottom there's diesel, or jet fuel, sorry. I'll show you here when we get back to the workbench. So here, let's... Yeah. I can also fold my rotors mid-air, which is kind of fun. So it's really tough, yeah, I gotta say, to get it to float. So in here, I have this little belly area, and it's kind of hard to see. Well, so I have pumps inside.
The pumps inside will basically, when you open the doors, the pumps will pump out the water. And you're not really supposed to be in the water. You're supposed to hover above it. Oh no. Nice. Looks like there's a mini game going on. So I'm not sure how to. Let me see. Build a helicopter? Yeah, I don't know how it works either. It just, when I started up the stream today, it was like, we're doing a special thing. Would you like to opt in? I was like, sure. Yeah, I don't know what the commands are. There's like chat commands that you could do to fight back. What's it got, a minute left? I'll drop bombs. Oh, the bombs are for killing us. Oops. Yeah. Alright, fine. Alright, well, for a helicopter, you need an engine and some blades, right? A seat? That'd be helpful. So let's see. A personnel transport helicopter. It's gonna be kind of big, right? Is that the idea? How many people are you trying to transport? And is this going to be like a military, like mash as many people in? Or do you want it like professional? I think I want to make like more of a business jet type of thing.
Oh, okay. So, like two pilots into. Yeah, yeah. I've got some pictures up. A lot of them have like a camera system on the nose for like the naval helicopters. So the windows get really tricky in this game. It kind of really sucks. So there's not a whole lot that I'm going to be able to do. When it comes to those, so... That's not matching. Yeah, we can do it. We normally called the pilots for them drone pilots.
matching. It's not matching. Let's just work one side of it first. Yeah. Push the right button, thank you. That's not looking too bad. Right. Looking underneath you is almost impossible because there's no 1x2 wedges. Those corner foot windows are impossible. Not really impossible, but it's like you might as well make the whole front of it a window at that point. And then you're gonna be more like a little bird, right? You're gonna be like a whole bubble nose. And then this is where it gets real tricky too. Trying to round off like the backsides and things. So this could be the first base layer underneath. So we can then kind of right in this area actually. Too bad they're so big. Trying to make something that looks like exhaust. That's tough. Yeah, so the jet engines are kind of weird. Like you would think you would need all the pieces, but you really only need 2 of the pieces. So yeah. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, I like that better. But what I think I like even better is to take it all and move it back. Or move it forward. I'm sorry, move it forward. And let's make sure to grab all of it. 3, 4, maybe? No, 2. Shrink. Plunk. Boop. And where'd the music go? People don't stay and watch. Yeah, I'm not the most entertaining. Like, you get a lot of info from my game about this game, or from my stream about this game. Unfortunately, it's not like super exciting or like, hype train or, anything like that, right? So I get it. I get it. Oh, and then once I get into Lua, jeez. Really slows my stream down then. Now, how do I do this one? Oops. I guess I know how to do this one. We need some of these. And then up here I'll have to do like a something to try to merge kind of a fake-ish engine.
type of thing. So let me see one that's landed. Call is always a hard one, you felt? What do you mean? Oh, the tail. I'm sorry. Tail is always a hard one. Yeah. There's no like 1x8s. Yeah, I might as well do this top two. It's a little bit too long, huh? The body. But it has to be.